How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RuffledRowlit, and welcome back to another rumor leak video. Today we're going to be talking about a bunch of different things. One of the biggest things is we're going to be talking about a hidden video on the official Pokemon YouTube channel, which could be hinting at a new trailer coming very, very soon, possibly next week, maybe even still this week, maybe now on Friday, but we've got that. We also have some talks about some potential hints to Johto. Again, more hints to Johto, possibly hinting at that possibility of there being a Johto remake next year, and loads of DLC leaks from the Riddler, who's just been leaking information here and there, just through riddles and stuff. But let's get started right off the bat with the first thing. Like I said, we do have this hidden trailer. Now, if you guys don't know what this is, basically, this is the playlist on YouTube for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Whenever there is like a trailer that's going to happen soon, usually they have that trailer hidden and scheduled or unlisted on the channel. What happens with that, though, is that we can actually see that there are unavailable videos are hidden. And if you look, there is specifically one that's hidden in here. It says video, so it could be multiple ones, but usually this implies that there's something that they've hidden in there that they've already uploaded, but it just isn't public yet. So that could drop now on Friday, which is the most closest possible time. I'm recording this video on Thursday, so if this happens tomorrow, then there you go, guys. We've got a new trailer for the DLC. But if not, most likely next week is when we're going to see that, because next week, guys, this is important to remember, in November, on the 3rd of November, I think, they're actually releasing, it's literally next week on Friday, they're actually releasing the the full completed double pack, right? Basically, they're going to be releasing a version of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which includes the DLC with it, right? It's going to be a like a double pack or something like that, which you guys can actually buy. So I wanted to just bring that up and mention it because it is an important factor that is supposed to be remembered. Just keep that in mind, okay? So that was the first thing, is the trailer. That's what we've got, possibly coming very soon. Next up, this is a really big one. Like, I'm gonna be like honest with you guys, this is a really big one. Basically, we have this new video that came out. This is basically a official video of like kind of an animated episode of Pokemon, the like Detective Pikachu, right? It's basically Detective Pikachu animated. But what's really funny about this little episode they made, this is actually real. This is official from the Pokemon Company. What is real is in this room where they're like trying to solve these mysteries and whatever and whatnot. On the wall, there's multiple references to Johto. The first one is this one right here, where we see Lugia, and then we see all the evolutions, which is really random because if you think about the evolutions, they are associated with, you know, Gen 2 very much, because that's where Espeon and Umbreon were both introduced, right? Like, that's like where they specifically were like shown off in, like that's like the generation that they were, you know, introduced in. But that's not all. Also, if you guys want to get Lugia and these guys, or if you want to like even get access to certain things, you actually have to go and deal with the, I think the Kimono girls, right? The Kimono girls in, I think, Ecruteak City. If you battle them, they all use evolutions. So they're all connected very well to Johto. So again, very strange to see this artwork included in the background here. You can see what Pokesutami, shout out to Pokesutami, by the way, for sharing this, saying putting Lugia in a poster with Kimono evolutions is an interesting choice, especially considering the fact that there is more established and theorized lore, such as the base 3, so Flareon, Jolteon, and Vaporeon, actually being the original forms of the legendary beast, that being Entei, Raikou, Suicune, that Ho-Oh revived when the tower burned, connecting them to Ho-Oh as well. But it seems like a battle might be happening. Was a rampaging Lugia the case of the cause of the disaster? So this is maybe more related to the actual episode, but I want you guys to remember, this episode is separate from the actual Detective Pikachu game. They're kind of connected, but separate still. If you play Detective Pikachu, I covered this in my last video, but if you play Detective Pikachu, the Returns, the newest game, if you go into one of the big mansions for like the second mission of the game, there's actually a picture on the left side of a name that seems really interestingly similar to what potentially could be the name of upcoming remakes for Lugia and one for Ho-Oh. There's literally pictures of them and special names that are mentioned, which is really strange. So again, seems like a lot of hints like this are showing up. Like you see Kuro here saying, I do think it's an interesting take because in the game's universe, the Diamond and Pearl movie was also recorded, as in such canon, we have Mewtwo's Kanto region origins and Macrocosmos as Easter eggs. For Tim to have this poster, it means Ethan's tale of Heart Gold Soul Silver were told and recorded in history, which would be a pretty cool way to look at it. But yes, we have this, which is really cool. Shout out to both of them for sharing this. And it's actually an artwork from old merch from like 2005 or 2006 or something, which is, wow, that is actually really awesome. Really sick, actually, that they decided to include that. Really strange, though. But that's not the only one. Here you can see Pokesutami saying, watching the Detective Pikachu YouTube video now, along the Lugia and the evolution poster, there's also this framed picture where we can see Suicune and some red Pokemon. I'm assuming that red Pokemon is Entei. If you guys look at the side there, it definitely looks like it's, you know, like Entei, Raikou, and maybe Suicune all running along each other, you know, just together. I guess that's what's happening. Can't figure out what Pokemon it is, though. And yeah, it's pretty much just Entei, most likely. But again, a really interesting, strange, you know, case here. We move on. I don't care what it is. Faithful Remake, Let's Go, Chibi Remake, Legends Past or Future. Just hook any new Johto content and pump it directly into my veins. And yes, I agree. I think a lot of people want to like push for the Unova push just because of all the stuff that Riddler-Q's been saying, like mostly because of what Riddler-Q's been saying, and also because we've passed Gen 4 remakes now, so obviously this is what fans always do. As soon as we're done with one generation remakes, they instantly start begging for the next one and proclaiming that the next, like, you know, remakes are going to be the remakes of the best Pokemon games. Like before Sinnoh remakes came out, everybody kept saying like Gen 4 remakes of the best generation ever. And then they got the remakes, and it wasn't really what people wanted, because you're never going to get exactly what you want from Game Freak. Please remember that. You're never going to get exactly what you want. You're always going to get something a little bit different. Just please keep that in mind. So don't get disappointed of whatever you get next year. If it's a Unova remake like you all asked for, and it ends up not being good, just remember, we should have not asked for it from begin with. We should have just enjoyed the originals as much as we could. I don't care whatever Johto looks like if we do get a remake. I just want to see Johto in 3D personally. That's literally my only wish. I just want to see it in 3D, see what it can be like. If it can be anywhere close to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, I would be happy. And I know that's maybe like putting the bar very low because I don't like the gameplay of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee in terms of throwing the ball to catch everything, but I like the style of the game. I like the style, and I like the movement around like the map and stuff. I thought it was all right because he uses that old school, like, you know, 2.5D kind of, I was saying 2.5D, but like using the top down, like bird's eye view sort of is what it does with that game. And I wouldn't mind going back to that, but I also do like Scarlet and Violet's like 3D full open world style, but that's not something they would do for remakes. Remakes are just to recreate the old journeys, but whatever they do with Unova and Johto, at least we have some hints towards both directions. This seems to be hinting more to Johto with all the stuff we've been seeing, like all the little hints in Detective Pikachu. Those hints could also mean nothing. It could be literally no meaning behind it, but it's always worthwhile to keep in mind because it could be possibly something. Either way, we also want to move on here and see what's being said by Soul, who says, honestly, I might be the only one, but I'll definitely rather get an original soup, original taste, faithful remake of Gen 2 games next year. Same here, over a Gen 5 remake in that style. Exactly. I think it's better if we wait. Give them some time to cook up a better Unova than what they could do right now, especially if it was a Heart Gold Soul Silver in full HD 3D. I just adored Johto, and I haven't played in a while, so it would be very welcome. I 100% agree with Soul here. I 100% agree. I think Johto is one of those generations where there's only so much you can do because it does heavily rely on Kanto as well to be included, that there's only so much you can do with it that I just want to see it in 3D. I just want to see it in 3D, updated, so we can also bring back some of those Pokemon from then that aren't included in the most recent games, but also just like give Johto some extra life because I feel like it is being neglected and really hated on a lot lately for no particular reason. But I mean, it has its issues, okay? There's no question about it. Like the original Johto games have some problems, but I do think Johto deserves some love, as we haven't seen it in a long, long time. And, you know, Black and White can still happen, but I do prefer if they take more time. Of course, I am talking now if we were to get regular remakes, but I don't think whatever we are going to get next year, if it is Unova related and Black and White, it's not going to be normal Black and White remakes. I just don't think that's going to be the case. It's got to be something different. Like, it's got to be some sort of weird concoction of a game, like something different than we can actually imagine, something totally different. But we're gonna have to wait and see what happens with that. Let's move on to the next thing. So this was a post by Central Leaks who said, leaks, there'll be a new method to catch legendaries, like in previous games, Dynamax Adventure, Ramana Spark, Ultra Warp, etc. Now, what he's talking about here is specifically, if you guys know, if you've been playing the recent Pokemon games, you guys know that there's usually, I say recent, but like over the last like 5-6 years, usually if you want to catch legendaries, there is a method that's been implemented for you to get them. As he mentions here, like you got Dynamax Adventures, that's what we did back in Sword and Shield, especially we did the Dynamax Adventures, that was in the Crown Tundra DLC. You went into the Dynamax Adventures to find legendary Pokemon. We had the Ultra Wormholes in Ultra Sun and Moon, and we had the the whole like Hoopa rings and whatnot. Like that was another one. The Hoopa rings you could go through in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, and Ramana Spark, which was in BDSP. And Ultra Beast apparently won't return. So he's saying that we're going to be getting a way to capture all legendaries, but there hasn't been any mention of legendaries returning. That has not been found in the data mines. I don't know where he's getting this from. And like I don't even know if people really asked him here where he got this info from. I don't know. I don't get where he's getting this info from, because I didn't see Ku say this. I don't know if I saw Ku mention this, which is really strange, because then you go over to this post right here, where Light, for example, said, leaks Indigo Disc, there will be a new way to catch normal and rare legendary Pokemon similar to Mirage Spots, Dynamax Adventures, Uranus Park, and Ultra Wormholes. Exact same thing Centro said, and more than 15 legendary Pokemon will come back in the Indigo Disc. New flight modes for Koraidon. Rhydon will be involved in this. Now, as you can see right here, does anyone know where this info is coming from? Ku hasn't said anything like this in the slightest. Some of this might end up even being true just because it's an easy guess, but this isn't a public leak as far as I know. So this is a weird one, because I'm trying to understand where this comes from, like where this information, like where this, even what Century is saying, where that's coming from, because Century even replied to this and said no ID either, which is really strange because he basically posted the same info. You know, I'm very confused. Nothing more, nothing there about 15 legendaries or Koraidon Rhydon flight mode. So basically, the part of this that like, I guess, oops, I just liked this by accident. The part of this tweet, if we go back here, the part of this tweet from Light that he doesn't agree with is the part about there being 15 Pokemon. Like, there's gonna be 15 Pokemon returning. That's the part that he doesn't agree with, which is a bit confusing to me. More than 50 legendary Pokemon will come back in the Indigo Disc. That's the part that he says is not confirmed. And then when you look at Soul here, he says that the like closest thing that he has said to this, Ku, was specifically posting the Ultra Beast, showing that they're not going to be coming back, sort of, by doing a sad face. And somebody asked him, good to know, he's sad about the UBs, but happy the rest are back. Can you tell or hint about the legendary hunting method? Is it similar to Dynamax Adventures? And he says, we'll do it in a later post. And then if we look at, like, you know, here he says others, and then he says, like, he has so he has one picture with Ultra Beast, and the other picture is basically just like Robert Downey Jr. literally just being like, oh, thank God, like, you know, just kind of like sighing in relief, like a relief post, meaning that the others being probably legendaries, like the closest thing you can get to. So that's where I think Light's getting this from. And I think the 15 number he's saying might just be counting the legendaries we have. I don't know how many legendaries we have in total, though. I'm gonna be real with you guys. Every legendary Pokemon, if we look it up, like, what's the actual number? Because there are a lot of them now. You gotta remember, there's a lot of them now. So if we count the originals, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. But then again, this is counting Ultra Beast, and it's also counting mythical. So if we only count legendaries, there is more than 15, I think, by now. Like, I think by now, oh, this literally, there's a list here. So those are sub-legendaries. But actual legendaries, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 5, that's 10, 15. Okay, so yeah, it does put you at about 15 if you don't count Zacian, Zamazenta, Eternatus, Calyrex, and then Koraidon and Rhydon. Everything else prior to that, though, does get included. So I don't know if I agree with Soul here saying, does anybody know where the info comes from? Because he kind of has the info itself here. But I think what he's trying to say is it's kind of hard to figure out what he means by this. Because even Centro said that this is like a way of hinting at it, right? Because he's like hinting here at Ultra Beast not being back, but then hinting that legendaries will be having a method to be caught. So, or at least, no, sorry, he's not hinting at them having a method to be caught, but he's hinting at them returning. So we can only really assume that there's going to be a new hunting method, because let's be honest here, every time the second DLC comes out or the second version of the games comes out, so that, like, as an example, let's go just like this, you had Ultra Sun and Moon, you had BDSP, and you had, like, whatchamacallit, I guess, the Crown Tundra, and even Oras. All of those usually had some form of a way to catch those old legendaries through some sort of method. Like we mentioned, Mirage Spots, Ultra Wormholes, the Reminisce Park, as well as Dynamax Adventures. So you could only assume that this DLC would be the one to introduce and bring back the old legendaries so people can fully use them, because that's one of those things I've been wondering about. We have every single starter returning, which is exactly what they also did, by the way, in the Crown Tundra, but we don't have legendaries. Like, where are the old legendaries? Like, they know people love the legendaries and they're like bringing them over and having a way to catch them. So where are they? Well, logically, he hints here, Ultra Beasts are gone. We're not getting those, but we are possibly getting the others, aka legendaries. Because even if you look at Cerebi, and when they list like sub-legendaries, they even include Ultra Beasts in that, as well as like Chien Pao, you know, Wu Qian, Okidogi, Monkey Dory, Ogerpon is even included in that list. But then for legendary Pokemon, they only really include like the box art ones and like the really important ones. So as an example, Mewtwo is an important one. Palkia, Dialga, Xerneas, Zygarde is an important one. Cosmog, Solgaleo, Lunala, Necrozma, Zacian, Zamazenta, Eternatus, Calyrex, Koraidon, Miraidon as well, right? So basically, those are the ones included there. But yeah, it's a little hard to figure out exactly what's going on here. But I'm going to say it like this to you guys. I'm going to just break it down like this. I think we're going to get the legendaries back. There's going to be some weird, wacky way of us receiving them. Probably some sort of hidden location. Maybe it's going to be in Area 0. We're going to go to Area 0 and find them there. Maybe some sort of wormholes will open up again down there, or some paradox, you know, like some rifts in the paradox space will open up, and we'll be able to enter those, and we'll encounter legendary Pokemon inside them, similar to the Ultra Wormholes, Mirage Spots, all the rest of them. That's what I think most likely that we're looking at right here. Again, that's my speculation, but let's move on to the next thing. So, this was a tweet by Ku who says, just curious, what's your real take on him? And he posted a picture of Kieran. Now, if you guys haven't realized, Kieran clearly is going to be sort of like a villain in the next game. The next DLC. He's going to be a bit of a villain in the Indigo disc, but he's asking here, what do we think about him? Like, what are your honest takes on him? And here he had an option where you could say, basically, do you like him? Back off at aka don't like him, or check results is what people clicked mostly here. So majority of people clicked that they like him, minority said they don't like him, and a lot of people just want to see the results. And he said, so based, and this is the important post right here. So based on the positive comments that most people dropped, I think the community would be hyped to the sky after you experience Sudachi 2's steroid line of Kieran. Basically he says the Sudachi 2, that's the DLC name, that's the code name for the DLC 2 Indigo disc. And he's basically telling us here that we should be happy. The people that are, you know, voting for, like, that they like him, they're going to be happy with what they have in the story for him, you know, coming up. So basically, either he's going to become a good guy, or he's going to do, you know, he's going to do some crazy stuff, and then he's going to be on our side, or, you know, something like that's going to happen. That's the way I look at it based on what I see. So that's pretty much my thoughts on that. Let's move on to the next thing, which is this one right here. And here he says, choose your side. And he has a picture of Carmen and Nimona, and then the one of the new characters from the BB League. This is going to be one of the new Elite Four members from the Blueberry Academy. And she's also next to Nimona. And then basically just asks us, choose your side, which is very strange. Nimona stays consistent, but then here we have to choose between Carmen and the other girl. And it's just a bit of weird. Like, I don't know what, like, you know, what is he trying to imply here? I do think that, you know, there seems to be like a lot of implications, or like a lot of talking and a lot of stuff from Ridlaku hinting specifically at us making some kind of choice between our friends. And there's also already mentions of like zombies and stuff like that. Not literal zombies, but like characters being controlled, choices being made, and us as a character, us as a player character, having to make hard decisions and go against people like Kieran, for example. There's a lot of stuff like that that's being hinted. I'm guessing here he's trying to say that we're going to have to make a decision here between all of these. Maybe we're going to have to make a decision between, where he says choose your side. So are we choosing the side that, you know, I mean, both sides have Nimona on them, but are we choosing the side that's on the BB League side? Or are we choosing Carmen's side? But I don't know what that exactly means, and I haven't really seen what people, you know, want to say about this. Then again, even here, his profile picture does have this character girl in it, like Amashinu says here, like, yeah, you know, it's you know, it's interesting. And Jan says, oh, I see where this is going, but personally, I'm out of the loop on this one. I am very much out of the loop. I do not understand, like, you know, what this is trying to say. Is this basically us choosing between which side we want to be on throughout the journey, or which side we're going to fight on when it comes to, you know, because we're going to have to choose between characters. That's something he's already hinted multiple times. Like, he's hinted that several times before. We're going to have to choose some kind of, like, between our friends. We're going to have to choose one and sacrifice one. That's what he said before. Choose one, sacrifice one. So is this a case where we're going to have to either choose to be on the side of the BB League or Carmen and her side? And is it possible the BB League might be controlled by someone? Is it possible that Carmen might be, like, you know, we're going to have to wait and see what develops from that. But let's move on to the next thing. Here, he's roasting one of the new characters. Now, this is the woman who basically confirmed to us that she has the Scarlet and Violet books. She showed us the pages from it, and I think she's related to the man who wrote the book, Hassel. Oh, sorry, I was about to say Hassel. The man who wrote the books about the, you know, the Area Zero, right? But basically, what we're being told here is that she is useless battle-wise. So that either implies one of two things. Either her team is going to be really dog, like she's not going to have a good team whatsoever. Briar is, I think, is her name. So either she's going to have like a really bad team, or she's not going to have a team at all, and we're not even going to be battling her. And that could also imply that she potentially is a bit of a villain of sorts. Because, I mean, even her outfit here, you guys can see, the little outfit she wears has literally the logo and like the parts from the logo from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So she's an important character still, and she is from, of course, you know, the Blueberry Academy. She works there. So we're going to see what exactly she's going to do. Like, she seems very, very strange. We still do not know enough about her. So we're going to have to wait and see what develops again from that. But either she's not going to have a battle, or the battle she has is very weak because she has a weak team. We'll have to wait and see, though. Either way, let's move on to the next one. So, who's going to be the GOAT? And here we post pictures of more recent legendary Pokemon. So we've got like Zygarde, we got like Necrozma, we've got Eternatus, and we also have Terapagos. And this basically here, what I think this is implying is that if you look at all these images, this is literally the final form of all of these Pokemon, except Terapagos shows this giant ball that we've seen in the book. I think what he's trying to tell us here is, if you take all the Pokemon that we've had that have in recent time, the third legendaries, which includes, let's see. So it includes Necrozma, it includes, what's his name, Zygarde, and it also includes Eternatus. All of these forms right here are their final forms. They're almost like equivalent to their megas. I'm not saying they're mega forms, chill, but I'm just saying like the equivalent. If I was to use a word to describe it, this is basically like their final forms, their ultimate forms. And what we see down here with the circle is basically the final form of Terapagos. So what we have seen is not the final form. That down there, the ball, the giant ball, that's what's going to be its final form. So the Terapagos we've seen, not the final form, and the final form is going to be something similar to that, and it's going to like transform into like a ultimate version. We're probably going to have to fight it in some sort of like epic battle to defeat it and take it down in the story, because that's kind of what you do with almost, at least two of these, you have to do that. So that's what I think it's hinting here, like a final form of Terapagos that we have yet to see, but basically this image kind of hints at that already. So gonna have to wait and see how that turns out. Moving on, here he says, or other possibilities, and he posts a picture of the baby Terapagos. I forget what its name is, its actual name, but he's posted a picture of it, and then pictures of some typings. We've got, I think, normal type, psychic type, I think that's psychic, and then he also posts a picture of, I think, rock type and dragon type. So, very strange combination. It says, as you can expect, regular type, 19th type. So, he's trying to say here that this Pokemon is going to have a regular typing, two regular, like two, it's going to be dual type, right? So it's going to be one each of these, one of these, actually two of these, sorry. Two of these, and then also the 19th type, which he says 19th type, but isn't really a 19th type, technically. So again, keep in mind, it's not really a 19th type, it's like a temporary 19th typing, but it doesn't really, I don't really know exactly what it's going to be like. So either way, so here we see Amashinu, who says, I won't be surprised if normal type is one of its types, or even the only, and then the other form has Terrestrial type. Well, again, I disagree with this, because basically what he said here, he confirmed that it's going to be two typings, because, he said, as you can expect, regular type, 19 type, so it's going to be two. There's no way it's only one. And he says, however, all these four make sense. Normal, neutral type, psychic can create visions, can float, rock, crystals, dragon, color scheme, reptile, and third legendary. I'm feeling the normal and rock type. Normal rock makes sense. I mean, it literally is a gem. Like, its whole body looks like a gem in the middle here, the whole middle section. It's literally almost like a crystal, a diamond. So the rock typing makes sense. The dragon typing, I guess the coloring on it makes it kind of have that feeling that it might be. But I'm feeling, again, more that normal rock type. That's what I'm feeling with this one, at least personally. Again, I haven't really seen any, much of any theories beyond that, but we'll have to see what happens. Moving on. The Blueberry Academy and its terrarium. Now, this is from Amashinu, actually. It's a bit of a theory about what the actual Blueberry Academy is based on. He says that he thinks the terrarium that we're in, like the actual school, like the terrarium with all the zones and stuff, is actually inspired by the Ryugu myth, a dragon palace under the sea, famous for its flowers and fauna in the Four Seasons Garden. The key to the Diamond Turtle awakening, I guess the Diamond awakening Terapagos is located maybe there. So maybe in the middle we might find the truth to that, but I think it's going to be more in Area 0. But we'll have to wait and see. And yeah, you can basically see how the four leaders of the academy are all kind of split to their own special sections, just like the whole garden is split in the same way, which is really, really cool to see. But we'll have to wait and see how this all turns out. Again, we don't know. Moving on, we have another bit of a theory from none else than Soul Silver Art, who says, here are some potential inspirations for the Dipplin evolution. So yes, there are hints to a Dipplin evolution. We already talked about this a few times. He says, it could be all of these, or it could be one of these. There might even be some worm in an apple infestation origin as well. And he posts a few IDs. Herensuge here. Herensuge is a gigantic serpent in Basque mythology, variant of a dragon. He flies through the air and is usually depicted with 7 large heads. Herensuge is one of the most important creatures in Basque mythology. Its name can vary, but the permanence of the suffix suge sugi, snake serpent is sufficient to justify its nature, is indeed a snake. And then here we have a man-eating plant, which, you know, we're talking about the man-eating plant, literally, which makes sense. It fits with, you know, our little apple. We also have this thing, the Yamato no Orochi is perhaps the most frightening of all Japan's mythological monsters, according to the Kojiki. This fearsome serpent had 8 heads and 8 tails, with a body large enough to span 8 valleys and a surface of such magnitude that moss and the Japanese cedar trees grew upon it. The beast's belly is said to have been covered in bloody red sores, while its eyes had the appearance of a Chinese lantern plant. Again, a lot of weird little hints that could be pointing at some of this stuff being possible. You also have the Lerni Hydra, the Hydra of Lerna, which basically is more simply known as the Hydra, which is a certain water monster in Greek mythology. So again, there's a lot of possible things it could be, you know, based on. And here we even have like Blaze saying, you know, I haven't seen any posts about this, but the fact that a bad apple means a bad person, Kieran, also having an apple Pokemon is kind of cool, because yes, Kieran does use it. So maybe he's the bad apple, right? He's the bad apple. He's a, you know, a bad or corrupt person in a group. And Kieran is corrupted. He has been corrupted. And it's possible that the same thing might happen to the Dipplin. Maybe similar to how, like, some people have suggested maybe it's going to be similar to Ursaluna and its blood form, right? So the Ursaluna blood moon form, that one specifically is the way it is. And it's the only version of itself. Similar to how Ash Greninja kind of basically battle, like, you know, almost like bonded to Ash and took on aspects of his personality. Maybe this specific Dipplin might work in the same way, right? The Dipplin might become a bad apple based on how Kieran behaves. Maybe that's what causes it. But then the question is, how would we get our hands on it if we actually want to use it ourselves? Nonetheless, though, it is a nice little connection, though, because he's got himself a bad apple. And I guess Dipplin kind of is a bad apple already. And I do think that the whole, like, Hydra thing makes the most sense. That it's going to become like a multi-headed thing that we're going to be able to capture ourselves. And it's not going to be like Blood Moon or Saluna. But I do think it's worthwhile to bring up that, yes, technically, Dipplin already is a bad apple. It's infested with, you know, a literal parasite. Like, it's a worm inside it. So technically, it already is a bad apple. Because, you know, the same way, you know, there's, you know, like you have a bad apple as a person, they're a corrupt person within a group. And within this apple, there is a corrupt being, literally a worm eating away at it. So, again, kind of cool to mention. Either way, moving on. I have another bit of a theory. Many people think that the man that was with Ogerpon's friend, that was Ogerpon's friend, was killed when the Loyal 3 attacked and tried to steal the mask. But I think the story leaves the fate open-ended. I think he was kidnapped and or, you know, ended by Dokutaro and possibly turned into a zombie. This is why. How did the man hold onto the teal mask but lost the rest of his life? 2, Ogerpon finds signs of a struggle but not her friend's body. 3, she goes down to search for her friend. And 4, in the scene where the Loyal 3 attack, the man, Dokutaro, is there too, which, yes, we can see right here, you know, when the attacks happen, the mask, you know, it's just been left there by, you know, whoever. Or maybe after this battle, he was so wounded that he had to return to his homeland. Or maybe he really did just I guess maybe he was brought back as a zombie in DLC too. I don't know. To me personally, the tech doesn't make it seem like he was ended in the same way it heavily suggests that Ogerpon ended the life of the Loyal 3. To me, it's like after this event, he just mysteriously disappeared, and not even Ogerpon knew what happened to him. Hopefully, we'll find out more, maybe even see him in DLC too. Again, could be possible. We're going to have to wait and see what happens with that, because this all again connects to some of the stuff we know from the data mines. Like, for example, the BB League, Kieran, Kodai Kame, which is actually, that's the name of the pre-evolution of, or what we think is a pre-evolution, the baby form of Terapagos. And then there's a Zombie Man and Zombie Old, which again, and zombies as well, which implies possibly people that are going to be connected and or controlled by Dokutaro, as well as Nimona, Arvin Penny, and Dokutaro is even in there. So we know he's actually in the games. Either way, let's move on. Now, this one comes up at us real quick. So here's a video from, I guess, Pokisutami. He says, Lake Usori is the inspiration for Kitakame's crystal pool. Lake Usori is a vibrant blue lake in the Aomori prefecture of Japan. It is said that the red bridge symbolized the journey from life to the afterlife. And here you can see what he says. The info is actually huge. This could be fully debunking the idea that the crystals in the teal mask revived the Loyal 3 because they had powers concerning and connected to the afterlife. Great find from Sue on how Lake Usori in the Japanese Tohoku region is what the crystal pool in Kitakami is based off of. Lake Usori is specifically tied to the afterlife, that walking over this red bridge is like walking into the afterlife. This could be the sole explanation of why in Kitakami it is said that the crystal pool at the crystal pool people can see their loved ones who passed. Meaning this could be the only reason they put this lore in the game as a callback to its origins of Lake Usori. Of course, it could still mean more. than just a callback to real-world lore. Hopefully in the Indigo Disc, we'll find out how these freaking Loyal 3 were revived. Well, we'll have to wait and see if that actually happens. And then quickly, I just want to show this from Weirdomon, who just made like some concepts for what the... And we know these are happening, by the way. A Paradox Entei and a Paradox... Terrakion. We know those two are happening, but we don't know what they're going to look like. And here are some thoughts and some concepts for what kind of dinosaur it could be based on, because they're all been based on dinosaurs except like the Unova ones, but Raikou and Suicune have so far been based on dinos, so possibly these are some concepts for what we could expect for Entei as well. But ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much going to be summarizing this video right there and finishing it off. So we talked about a few different things. We went over the fact that there's a possible trailer coming. We went over the fact that there's Johto hints in Detective Pikachu and a bunch of other stuff. And I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.